to the lack of judicial independence, which hinders forward for politically motivated prosecution. The trial and, in general, repression against the opposition. And I think it was assessed by this commission as, quote, highly regrettable. And if you look at some of the reports, talked about the decreased media pluralism and
the most important points. Commission to make this document. I want to highlight none of the civil society organizations which were part of the Constitutional Making Commission voted for the Constitution. None.
Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you in Batumi, the fastest developing city of Georgia with a vibrant economy, and hereby I would like to welcome the Secretary General, welcome honorable guests, and first of all I would like to thank you and extend my thanks on behalf of the majority for your support, valuable support to Georgia's democratic transition, Georgia's economic growth, and Georgia's integration, progress in integration to the Euro-Atlantic community. That's so important to us, and we actually count so much on our partners and the partnership we have. I would like to comment on Laura's introduction, which was, of course, very interesting. And first of all, I would like also to thank civil society and opposition in this country, having been a good opponent, providing critical opinion to us, which is actually additional opportunity, important opportunity for the team in the governance to improve faster, to consider the remarks, to consider the recommendations, and I will provide very brief presentation on Georgia's latest developments. Of course, the commitments and Georgia's aspiration to NATO remains a top priority for our government, for the parliament, and witness. And the strongest argument for that would be to look through the new constitution of Georgia adopted by the parliament recently. There is a clear provision about Georgia's aspirations towards NATO and European Union, and the new constitution clearly articulates our political agenda regarding the integration. As for democracy, of course, there is no perfect democracy, and we have much better understanding that perfect democracy can be achieved only by participation, by listening to the partners, listening to the critical opinion, considering more, and having better dialogue with parties. I think, and I can tell you with confidence, that in every particular component, Georgia's democracy has been shown remarkable improvement. I would say the essential and linked component to the democracy of human rights, we have remarkable improvement, providing better institutional protections for the human rights to the citizens of this country and to the visitors to our country. I would start with the important rights better guaranteed now in our country. This is a right to assembly, freedom of expression, property rights, which had been matter of concern a few years ago in our country. I would like to highlight remarkable improvement in the penitentiary institutions of Georgia, in the places where people are deprived of their liberty and people are more vulnerable when it comes to the protection of human rights. These are the improvements which are not just our subjective positive judgment, but also the improvements which are assessed and fixed in the international reports and independent party assessments. I would like to follow with the improvement, considerable improvement in the light of elections, an election system, not just as a system to have, but also the possibility for the citizens to change the things, to change the environments and the community issues they live in. So I would like to refer to the NDI's polls again, which demonstrate that the interest, engagement and participation in the electoral process has been improved. I would say, and I quote the latest findings, which say that the citizens asked during the polls say that they had been better informed about the programs, about the candidates, about the process. They say that they have better choice now than before, and they say that the overall satisfaction with the process of elections, with its outcomes, has been improved. Of course, we have to do much, much more to improve the satisfaction, to widen the participation, to strengthen the political parties, to be more prepared to offer better political programs to the electorate. And I would like to refer the important development, latest development, which is actually which was matter of very hot debate and discussion in our country. And I would like to thank all international partners, including Venice Commission, providing expertise, consultation, and advice to the Georgia's constitutional reform. I would say that Georgia's constitution had been changed at least 20 times last 20 years. Every government in power tried to tailor the constitution to its own needs. And in this case, the amendments we done and supported in the parliament prevent this and any future government to tailor the constitution to its own needs, because we simply included double vote control for the constitutional amendments, which say that at least two consequent parliaments have to confirm the changes to be introduced to the Constitution. As for the content of the Constitution, I would say that it clearly improves the balance between the governance components. It improves the balance between the ruling party and the opposition, and it prevents, absolutely prevents in theory and the practice, that any political party in the future gets constitutional majority in the parliament. Then I have to tell you that our political party, Georgian Dream, has now a constitutional majority in the parliament. And this is not a coalition. In coalition, this is just a single political party has a constitutional majority in the parliament. So we ourselves supported the changes, proposed the changes which prevent any political party in the future to have constitutional majority. So most probably, and I can tell you this with confidence, that the next Parliament of Georgia will be much better balanced and opposition will be stronger to compete with the ruling party, and parliament representation of the political parties will be based on the real merits of the parties. As for the media, I can consider and I can respond as well to the criticism which exists in our society regarding the freedom of media, but I can also tell with confidence that freedom of media is an issue where Georgia has remarkable improvement. I would not even compare the situation we have now with regards of freedom of media, what we had some years ago, maybe 10 years ago as well. Of course, I have to acknowledge the contribution of all parties, civil society, opposition, the partners of Georgia to improve the media environment. How can we judge is the media free or not? I think there are clear indicators which can be applied to Georgia's reality. We can start with the procedures, and during our governance, the procedures to establish, to register new media outlet had been extremely simplified and accessible to all parties interested. The second clear indicator is the volume of a critical content in the broadcasting of media every day. Even if you go today's media content, even if you go yesterday's, 5 months ago, 1 year ago, the content in media contains considerably high volume of critical content towards the government. So the criticism towards the government is seen and apparent in media, which says that media outlets actually are free and independent to control, to cover, and to criticize the government or the ruling party. And the final thing is how actually journalists feel during their professional work. And I would say that Georgia has overcome the times when some journalists had been even imprisoned for their independent professional activity. We have no single journalist. I know it's a basic, and it's not surprising to the countries you come, to the democracies you come from, but I would again say that there is no single journalist now deprived of liberty because of the independent critical reporting towards the government. This is very important considering our past. We have to look carefully to sustain the standard in the present and in the future. And final, my remark would be instruments for the better public control. As you know, we completely switched to the parliamentary governance model with the latest constitutional amendments. So Georgia became fully a parliamentary governance model, which means that public will have better control over the process, over the executive branch of the government, over all developments. And there are practical tools in the new constitution which gives practical applications, practical instruments to the political parties, to the community groups, to the society to control elected or assigned officials. And I would highlight the importance of the state auditor's office and the importance of the public defender's office, where I worked 3 years, and I'm proud of the fact that our government remarkably changed the instruments considering recommendations and the critical suggestions of the public defender's office, of the state auditor office. We continue strengthening both institutions, and we continue carefully to listen and consider their remarks and recommendations. And as for the court, I am sure my colleagues here will speak about the developments in the court system. We've done 3 consecutive reform waves are completed in the system. The 4th one is under the process, but I will say simply that the court system where the citizens were always accused, where the government and the state was always right, and the statistics show that we had a court system which only took less than 1% decisions for the citizens. Current court shows a very balanced statistics in this regards. if we look through the administrative cases, if we look to the criminal cases, in both dimensions, we have considerable improvement and better balance between the decisions made for the court, for the state, made for the citizens. Of course, we are committed to continue these reforms. We are committed to deliver better, and again, in the new constitution, court system has greater independence and better guarantees to deliver better to the society. Thank you so much. I'm ready for your questions, and thanks to Laura passing the floor to me.